In many dioceses in the United States, parishes are being consolidated or combined in groups of 2, 3, and even 4. A lack of priests make it hard to cover all the pastoral needs. In addition, dioceses struggle financially as tithing diminishes, while attendance to Mass keeps dropping. Closing churches and consolidating parishes might help to manage the resources and make the pastoral work of priests easier or more efficient, perhaps. But this measure just won't help to increase the participation of the lay faithful and their attendance to Mass, let alone increase the number of priestly vocations. What's the root of the issue? How to remedy it? Stay with me, and we'll find out. In 2019, the Pew Research Center revealed something alarming. 7 out of 10 Catholics in the United States don't believe Jesus is present in the Eucharist. To them, consecrated bread and wine are mere symbols of his presence. This lack of faith can be perceived Sunday after Sunday in so many churches that don't fill up during the Eucharistic celebration. Every time we break the bread, God our Father sends out His Holy Spirit to transform bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ. Only for those who are certain in their mind and convinced in their heart about this, attending Mass is not an obligation, but a vital need. As Pope Francis warns in his recent apostolic letter Desiderio Desideravi on the liturgical formation of the people of God, Christian faith is either an encounter with Him alive or it does not exist. For those who still believe, it is clear that we experience such an encounter with the living Christ in Mass, which we attend with 4 purposes: to adore God, to give Him thanks, to ask for His forgiveness, and to offer up our lives in sacrifice. For those who have deserted Mass, and even for those who still attend but thinking consecrated bread and wine are nothing more than just bread and wine, it is clear that their life still lacks of that encounter with the living Christ whom they are unable to sense in the Eucharist. What has led us to this lack of faith? Persistent liturgical abuses, shallow liturgies, homilies that talk about everything but the Gospel, which is the living word of the living Logos, have contributed for sure. Who can seriously believe Christ is truly present when Mass is celebrated that way? As the Congregation of Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments warns through the Instruction Redemptionis Sacramentum, liturgical abuses contribute to the obscuring of the Catholic faith and doctrine concerning this wonderful sacrament. Thus, they also hinder the faithful from reliving in a certain way the experience of the 2 disciples of Emmaus, and their eyes were opened and they recognized Him. Another factor is the insufficient sacramental catechesis. Many catechists don't receive a thorough preparation, and many just volunteer for the year their child gets ready to receive their first communion, losing continuity and depth. In addition, liturgical formation both of the clergy and the lay faithful is undeniably deficient. This poor formation leads to those liturgical abuses and shallow celebrations that make it difficult to believe Christ is truly present. There is always a temptation of falling into a spiritual worldliness, warns Pope Francis in Evangelii Gaudium. This matter has caused great concern to Pope St. John Paul II, to Pope Benedict XVI, and nowadays to Pope Francis. That's why in his apostolic letter, Desiderio Desideravi, he told us that we are in need of a serious and dynamic liturgical formation. What do we do? Taking this situation to heart, some bishops in the United States proclaimed 2020 to be a diocesan year of the Eucharist, in an effort to give focus to the Most Holy Sacrament. But the COVID-19 pandemic came in between and made it hard to live such local jubilees when churches needed to be closed. But also, we have to acknowledge that many priests didn't follow through in some dioceses, preventing parish communities from even knowing such jubilees were taking place. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the USCCB, has also taken the Pew study to their hearts. In response, They have launched the National Eucharistic Revival movement to restore in our country the understanding and devotion of the great Eucharistic mystery. It spans along three phases: a diocesan revival, which ended this month, continued by a parochial revival that began this past Corpus Christi and that will run all the way through 2024, followed by a year of Eucharistic mission through Pentecost 2025. On Corpus Christi this year, the parochial revival phase began. It's intended to foster Eucharistic devotion at the parish level, strengthening our liturgical life through faithful celebration of the Mass, Eucharistic adoration, missions, resources, preaching, and organic movements of the Holy Spirit. Its success depends on God's grace for sure, but it also depends on the commitment of bishops, priests, and the lay faithful. Eucharistic missionaries are needed for this initiative. Just like me, you can become a Eucharistic missionary. You may learn more at the official website, eucharisticrevival.org. Don't look from the sideline, sitting on the bench, just waiting for somebody else to do something or seeing others. Do it. Get involved. Be part of it. Let's rescue our faith in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. And stay tuned. Throughout the year, I will be sharing a lot of videos about the Eucharist and about this Eucharistic revival. Until next time, be passionate about our faith.